Hey, second grade, we are starting a new unit. So unit 6 is titled How on Earth? Question mark. Well, that is a big idea and it's a big question. So we'll have to break it apart a little bit as we go through this unit. But I'm going to read you something and it's a poem. And this is how the unit starts. And the question that we're really asking, the big idea, is what keeps our world working? What keeps our world working? What parts? There's lots of moving parts, but what keeps the world going? All right. So listen, and this is titled Our World at Work. Sun and rain and people too help our world keep turning. Doctors work to make us well. Teachers help with learning. Animals and plants give food. Farmers start things growing. Electric power lights our world. Highways get us going. Round and round and round we go, growing and improving. Sun and rain and people too help our world keep moving. That's a poem by Charles Ashton. Charles Ashton, Our World at Work. So that's going to be our main idea. That is going to be the umbrella over this unit. So our brand new essential question is about plant myths and facts. Isn't that cool? Plants. So the question is, what do myths help us understand? Well, what is a myth? A myth. It's like a story that's been told that might not be true, but it could be. It's a myth. All right, so I'm going to read to you. Take a look at this picture first. You see those plants there? I'm going to read to you about it. This is titled Plant Myths. Do you know the myth about bluebells? Here's a picture too. That's what they look like, a bluebell, that's called. It is thought that if you disturb them, like wake them or move them in some way, something bad will happen. Some myths were created to help us understand how plants develop. Other myths help us understand the stages of a plant's life. Here are a few myths about plants. One, finding a four-leaf clover is lucky. Have you heard that before? Find a four-leaf clover. Normally they only have three, but if you find one with four leaves, it's rare, it's special, and it's said to be lucky. It's called a lucky charm, actually. When a dandelion dies, you will get a wish when you blow away the seeds. Have you ever seen those flowers, the weeds growing in the ground, and you pull them up, not the yellow ones, not when they're yellow, but when they're all dried out and they have little white, looks like a little puffy white ball on the top, and it's little seeds, and you blow them, and they all scatter and float about. So that one of the myths about dandelions is that when they die, you blow them, and then you can make a wish on those seeds. So, is there anything that you know, any other myths that you can think of having to do with plants? Is there anything else that you can think of? Those are two really good examples that they gave us. So, this whole unit, we're going to talk a little bit more about myths and how they help us understand. So, that's that essential question that we plop up here. And we think about it as we read the examples and the stories. And then that brings us more and more knowledge about that topic. So it will always stay up in our brain as a beautiful example. All right, so I'm going to read to you today. And this is a myth story. It's a story about a myth, and it's titled Why Fir Trees Keep His Leaves. Oftentimes, leaves at certain times in their cycle will drop and shed their leaves. So let's read this story here and figure out why fir trees keep their leaves. All right, and so we remember too that it's some sort of myth and how this tree is different. Like always, you may scroll down and read along with me or listen and then scroll down and look back through the story on your own. But listen up, let's try to get some question or some answers to our questions. Long ago in ancient times, Mother Nature gave each tree a different purpose. So a reason for being here, a reason for doing what they do. However, she did not share her reasons with the trees. Fir Tree had 3 friends, Maple, Oak, and Elm. During the first summer, they saw bird and squirrel play in farmers' corn and tomato crops. The breeze blew and it rustled their leaves. The shining sun warmed them. Then the first fall arrived. Farmer harvested what he had grown. Maple, oak, and elm's leaves turned beautiful shades of orange, red, and yellow. The leaves shone as golden and bright as the sun. Fir Tree's leaves stayed green. Fir Tree complained to Mother Nature, I don't like my leaves. I want them to change colors like my friends' leaves do. Be patient, Mother Nature replied. You will learn purpose. So Fir Tree waited. The temperature dropped even more. Birds flew south and squirrel was nowhere around. Maple, oak, and elm lost their leaves, but Fir Tree's green leaves remained. Soon, snow blanketed the ground. Again, Fir Tree protested to Mother Nature. Why am I different? Why don't I have stages and changes like all my friends? I seem to be stuck in one period in my life. Be patient, Mother Nature replied. Soon you will develop understanding of your purpose. Just then, Squirrel appeared at the edge of the forest. She was cold. When she went inside the forest, she saw Maple. She asked if she could build a warm nest in its branches. Maple had said that she didn't have any leaves, so she asked Oak and then Elm. Both said the same thing as Maple. She was still bitterly cold. Squirrel approached Fir Tree. Excuse me, she said. May I build a nest in your branches? Yes, that would be nice, said Fir Tree. Squirrel ran up Fir Tree's branches and she made her nest. Soon she was warm and comfortable and asleep. Fir Tree finally then understood that his green leaves provided a warm shelter for animals in the winter. From that moment on, Fir Tree was happy to be different. Still today, he remains proud of his evergreen leaves. Very nice. So, although he was a little impatient at first and didn't understand why he was so different, why he wasn't going through what his friends were going through, he soon learned there was a reason. There was a reason why he was different and why he held on to those leaves. What was the reason? What was the reason? How did he develop differently from his friends? I want you to answer those questions for me, all right? And then I want you to think about yourself. So after you answer about these trees, remember these myths can help us understand things a little differently. Let's take a quick step back and think about ourselves. Has there ever been a time when you wanted to be like your friend? Or your friends or your group of friends, they were doing something and you wanted to be like them? Has there ever been a time where you could kind of feel like this fir tree? Like, why do they get to do that and I don't get to? Or why do they have that and I don't? Have you ever had that feeling? You might be able to relate to the fir tree just a little bit. Go ahead and scroll down. You'll see those questions down at the bottom as well. Go ahead and rewatch if you need to. Look back for examples in the text and let me know if you have any questions at all. Alrighty. Have fun doing this assignment and I look forward to reading your responses in Dojo. Have a good day. Bye.